takes all of that and passes it on to Cold Fusion and allows Cold Fusion to do something with it. Insert it into a database, send it in an email, process it in some way, right? Built right into Cold Fusion.
Is that what you did when we used to do the things for like Barefoot, the different mailings that would go out and like people, you take the names and you remember those mailings we used to do?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same time? That's what you're talking
It's similar to that,
similar
right? But we weren't doing those with PDFs.
Okay.
Right? And not only does it have PDF form functionality, it has actual file manipulation functionality. For instance, you can create a PDF package on the fly from several pages of a document. Now imagine you want to put together a dynamic booklet for someone and attach it to an email and send it to them. If you have the pages on the server, for instance, let's say you want to dynamically create a 12-page document, but you want to select from 48 pages that you've already created. And for different people, you want different pages inserted in different orders. You can dynamically build these pages, save them all as a PDF file, and then present it to the user or attach it to an email and send it to somebody. But it allows you actual file manipulation functions. You can actually create PDFs. You can take entire web pages and convert them to PDFs and save them on your computer.
So if you're sending something to an email database, it can be like customized to each person?
Absolutely it can. You can create custom PDF solutions on the fly from a database using Cold Fusion to put these PDFs together.
Wow, that's cool.
It even gets better. There's even more PDF functionality coming in Cold Fusion 9 that is pretty mind-blowing functionality. There's the functionality of being able to go in, for instance, and select all of the text in a document and do something with it. There's the functionality of being able to go in and insert images into a document or extract images from a document. There's all kinds of internal file manipulation features that are coming in Cold Fusion 9 that weren't available in Cold Fusion 8. The functionality that I've described is right now available in Cold Fusion 8. We can do that right now, but there'll be even more stuff coming down the line.
So everything we're talking about now doesn't necessarily involve us having the website, just having access to the data source to pump through that server.
Absolutely.
So if we don't have like HTC, it's being hosted, it's being programmed somewhere else in a different language, I don't even know what it is, but we can still do a lot of this, you know.
Absolutely. One of the things about the web now is that data is being published and syndicated in ways that allow Cold Fusion to consume it without being connected to the website. That's the importance of things like RSS and XML and web services and APIs. I'll give you a great example. You don't have to be connected to Google Maps to do things with Google Maps. You can use Cold Fusion to access Google Maps through their API, through their application programming interface, and you can pull data and push data to and from. You can create maps on the fly by sending data to Google Maps and then pulling back the created map. These are the kind of things that you can do with Cold Fusion that don't necessarily have to be created to the website. And Cold Fusion is being positioned in that way with Adobe, and that's one of the things that we'll get to, is that when we talk about Flex integration, we're talking about separating the presentation from the business logic. And when I say business logic, I want you to immediately think Cold Fusion. Cold Fusion is the business logic. That means that things are happening and stuff is being done. That's it. The display of how that looks and where that's presented, completely separate issue. We're not even discussing that. We're discussing business logic. Getting data, doing something with the data, and then handing the data off somehow to either a presentation layer, a Flex application, a Flash application, a form, a website. It doesn't matter. We're talking about separating that stuff. And when you think of it like that, you start to imagine Cold Fusion as back-end software.
Mm-hmm.
You start to understand that Cold Fusion isn't necessarily tied to the display of a website or what a website looks like. Cold Fusion is actually the nuts and bolts behind what things are being done.
Mm-hmm.
right? Cold Fusion is the glue that holds all of that stuff together. It goes to your database. It pulls from your database. It connects to your RSS feed. It pulls from your RSS feed. It connects to your Google Maps. Pulls from your Google Maps. It connects to your Facebook page. It creates a Facebook application that's being pulled from a database sitting somewhere completely different, but being displayed on a Facebook page that people are being logged into, right? It has file and image manipulation, right? We can save files to the server. We can create files. We can create spreadsheets. We can create image files. We can manipulate files. We can do stuff with images and do stuff with files. We can write files. We can read from files, right? We have all of that type of manipulation. So when they say stuff like, I have a Word document, well, you can already start to think, well, we could take your Word documents and dynamically read them and convert them to PDFs for people. We could take your library of spreadsheets and convert them into PDF documents. We could take your spreadsheets and convert them into charts for clients.
Yeah.
Right? So files, we can do stuff like that. We can manipulate things like that using Cold
Makes
Fusion.
it a lot easier to read for people.
Email integration, like I said before, full email integration. Full email integration. Exchange server integration, all right? So if they're running Microsoft Exchange, and I know, again, I don't want this to get too technical and too bogged down with technical stuff, but there are discussions you can have with clients where there will be things that seem like they're barriers. Like, well, we use Microsoft Exchange and you're using Cold Fusion. That's not a problem. That's not even a barrier. We can move on with the discussion and talk about solutions for the client and talk about what they want to do with it, rather than focusing on the barrier that's being put there by saying, you know, well, we use Exchange, or we use POP3, or we use Google Mail, we use Yahoo Mail, we have our own internal mail server. All of that's fine. We can talk and read and write from those things very easily, right? Charting, reporting, and presentations. I have a very cool demo of some presentation stuff that I'm going to show you in a little while. And a rich community of development resources. I want to avoid using things like open source software and stuff, but there's a community of developers that have already invented the wheel. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, okay? We don't have to write a message board. We don't have to write a blog, right? Somebody's already done it for us. I don't have to figure out how Flickr works. I don't have to figure out how am I going to get pictures from Flickr and display them on my user's webpage. Because my user has a Flickr account and they want to display their pictures. They want to upload pictures to Flickr, and then they want to make them available on their webpage in their photo gallery, and they want them to be clickable on their website. How do we go about doing that? I don't have to worry about that because somebody's already written something that does all of that for me. I can go to a website where there's a lot of open source projects that other people have worked on, and I can pull that code down, and I already have a head start on pulling that stuff into Flickr. Now all I've got to worry about is how I'm going to display it, not how I'm going to access Flickr, right? All right, other stuff that it does, like I said, it has Microsoft Exchange Server integration. It integrates with Exchange Server. All that is just the takeaway from that bullet point is just simply that there are no barriers in these conversations. That's it. Is that these conversations that tend to go the direction of, but we're using this, it's no longer a barrier. There's a solution there that we can work on. All right? There's a conversation that can happen with a client, and there's things that we can do.